Allah's plan is better than your dreams. Have you ever prayed desperately for something, only to be devastated when it didn't happen? What if I told you that the doors that closed in your life were actually saving you from a storm you couldn't see? In this deep dive, we are going to explore why Allah's plan is better than your dreams. We'll look at the psychological reasons why we struggle with unexpected detours, what the Quran and Hadith teach us about divine timing, and real-life stories that will give you absolute peace in your heart. Welcome to Global Mystery Nexus, where we uncover the profound, the hidden, and the spiritual. Let's begin. Act 1. The illusion of our own master plan. Human beings are natural planners. Ever since we are children, we map out our lives. We plan our education, our dream careers, the city we want to live in, and the people we want to share our lives with. We treat life like a script we have written ourselves, and we expect the universe, or rather the Almighty, to follow it to the letter. But how often do things actually go exactly according to our blueprint? Think about it. You might have studied tirelessly for a specific job, aced all the interviews, and felt 100% certain that this was the breakthrough you needed. Yet at the last moment, you received a rejection email. Or perhaps you envisioned your life playing out in a certain way by a certain age. But instead, you found yourself facing unexpected delays, financial struggles, or broken relationships. In moments like these, the human reaction is almost always the same: confusion, heartbreak, and sometimes even a little bit of anger. We ask, why me? Why did my hard work not pay off? We view the closed door as a punishment. We view the delay as a denial. But what if that closed door wasn't a denial at all? What if it was divine protection? The harsh reality of life is that we see only the present. We see what is directly in front of us, and we judge our success by the limited standards of what we want right now. We dream of the job we want, the house we want, or the status we desire. But we cannot see the future. We cannot see the hidden toxicity in that dream job. We cannot see the heartbreak that would have come with that relationship we so desperately fought for. Psychologists and spiritual leaders alike note that humans suffer when reality fails to meet their expectations. But as believers, we are taught to shift our perspective. Our plans are limited by our human desires and our lack of knowledge. Allah's plan is not limited by time, space, or our lack of foresight. As we dive deeper into this mystery of faith, we will discover why what we see as a tragedy is often the stepping stone to something far more beautiful. Act 2. The Divine Guarantee. Why we must let go. To truly understand why Allah's plan is better than your dreams, we have to look at the concept of divine wisdom, or hikmah. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses our human limitations perfectly in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 216. The translation reads, "But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not." This single verse contains the ultimate cure for anxiety and disappointment. It acknowledges a fundamental truth about human nature. Our desires are often flawed. We fall in love with the idea of something, blind to the harm it might carry for our spiritual or mental well-being. Let's take a moment to reflect on a beautiful, ancient story often shared by scholars to illustrate this very point. Imagine a poor woodcutter who worked tirelessly every day to feed his family. One day, he found a magnificent wild horse in the forest. He managed to tame it and bring it home. His neighbors came to him and said, "What a blessing! You are so lucky to have this powerful horse. It will help you carry wood and change your life." The woodcutter simply replied, "Perhaps." A few days later, the horse broke out of its enclosure and ran away into the mountains. The neighbors came back, shaking their heads, and said, "What a disaster! The horse is gone. You are so unlucky." The woodcutter again replied, "Perhaps." A week passed and the horse returned, but this time it brought with it a dozen wild horses from the mountains. The woodcutter now had a dozen beautiful horses. The neighbors gathered around and cheered, "You were right all along. You are a rich man now. This is a great blessing." The woodcutter said, "Perhaps." The very next day, the woodcutter's only son was attempting to train one of the new wild horses. The boy was thrown off violently and broke his leg. The neighbors rushed to the woodcutter's house and cried, "What a terrible tragedy! Your only son is crippled. You are so cursed." The woodcutter, with a calm heart, replied, "Perhaps." A month later, a war broke out in the kingdom. The army officers marched through the village, forcefully conscripting every able-bodied young man to fight in the war. Because the woodcutter's son had a broken leg, he was spared. He remained safe at home with his father. The moral of this story? We simply do not know the end of the story when we are living through the beginning or the middle. When the horse ran away, the woodcutter could not see that it would return with 12 more. When his son broke his leg, he could not see that it would save him from death on a battlefield. Similarly, when your plans fall apart, you are seeing only the immediate heartbreak. You cannot see the grand, beautiful picture that the Almighty is painting for your life. Act 3. The concept of Tawakkul, trusting the unseen. So how do we shift our mindset from despair to peace? How do we stop forcing our own scripts and start accepting divine guidance? The answer lies in the beautiful Islamic concept of Tawakkul. Tawakkul is not simply sitting back, doing nothing, and hoping for a miracle. It is a profound balance between action and faith. Tawakkul means that you do your absolute best. You study, you work hard, you make dua, you plan. But after you have exhausted your efforts, you leave the outcome completely in the hands of Allah. You recognize that while you are the planner, Allah is the best of planners. When you internalize Tawakkul, your entire worldview changes. You stop viewing life's rejections as personal failures. Instead, you view them as rerouting. Allah may have closed a specific door because He knows you are destined for something far greater. He may have delayed your success to teach you patience, resilience, and humility, traits that you will need to handle the very blessings you are praying for. Consider the lives of the prophets. Did they have their lives perfectly planned out? No. Look at Prophet Moses. He grew up in the palace of Pharaoh, but had to flee into the desert, living in fear and uncertainty for years. On his journey, he was tired, hungry, and alone. Yet, this was all a part of Allah's plan to prepare him for prophethood and the liberation of his people. Look at the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The disbelievers of Makkah plotted to capture and kill him. They had a concrete plan to end his mission. But the Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Anfal, verse 30, "And remember, O Muhammad, when those who disbelieved plotted against you to restrain you or kill you or evict you from Makkah. But they plan and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners." Prophet Muhammad and his followers had to leave their beloved homes and migrate to Medina. It was a painful departure, but that migration led to the establishment of a thriving, just society and the ultimate triumph of Islam. If the Almighty can guide His greatest creations through trials and detours into absolute triumph, He will certainly guide you through yours. Trusting in Allah's plan means believing that He has something better in store for you, even if it does not make sense to you right now. Act 4. The hidden blessings in unanswered prayers. One of the hardest things for human beings to accept is the unanswered prayer. We pray for a specific outcome. We cry in our sujood. We ask for a specific job, a specific spouse, or a specific miracle. And when months or years pass and nothing changes, we start to doubt. We think, why isn't my dua being answered? Scholars of Islam remind us that there is no such thing as an unanswered dua. Every single time you raise your hands to the Almighty, your prayer is answered in one of three ways. The immediate acceptance. Allah grants you exactly what you asked for, at the exact time you wanted it. The deferred blessing. Allah recognizes that what you asked for is good for you, but the timing is wrong. He saves it for you at a time when you are truly ready, and when it will benefit you the most. The divine substitution. Allah knows that what you asked for would have caused you harm, sadness, or distance from Him. So, He does not give you what you asked for, but instead, He averts a disaster from you, or He replaces it with something infinitely better in this life or the next. Imagine a little child throwing a tantrum because they want to play with a sharp, dangerous knife. The loving parent denies the child the knife, even though the child cries and thinks the parent is being unfair. The parent does not do this to hurt the child. They do it because they love the child and see the danger that the child is too young to understand. In the same way, we are often like that child. We beg for things that look shiny and beautiful from the outside, but are spiritually or emotionally dangerous for us. When Allah denies us those things, it is the ultimate act of His mercy and protection. Furthermore, sometimes Allah breaks your plans to save your soul. He allows you to experience failure so you can become humble. He allows you to experience loneliness so you can learn the value of His companionship. He takes away the things you relied on so you can learn to rely solely on Him. Your plans are according to your limited wishes. Allah's plans are according to His infinite wisdom. When you understand this, you will stop crying over the dreams that died, and you will start getting excited about the miracles that are being prepared for you. Act 5, the ultimate conclusion, embracing the future. As we bring this deep dive to a close, it is important to remember that having faith does not mean you will never feel sad or disappointed. It is completely natural to grieve when your plans collapse. It is okay to feel the weight of a heavy moment. But the key is how you handle that grief. Do not let disappointment harden your heart. Instead, use it as an opportunity to surrender. Tell yourself, this did not happen because Allah has written something greater for me. You have to change the narrative in your mind. Stop thinking that life is happening to you and start believing that life is happening for you. Every closed door, every rejection letter, Every broken relationship and every delayed milestone is a chapter in a beautifully written story. When you look back at your own life, how many things did you cry over 5 or 10 years ago that you are now grateful didn't happen? Exactly. You can probably look back at your past and clearly see instances where a disaster actually turned out to be a massive blessing in disguise. Trust that the same principle applies to what you are going through right now. When you trust in Allah, your life feels lighter. You no longer carry the heavy burden of trying to control the future. You do your part, you put in the hard work, you keep striving, and you let the Almighty take care of the rest. Remember this one quote: Allah's plan is better than your dreams. He knows your strengths, He knows your weaknesses, your deepest fears, and your greatest desires. He will never leave you empty-handed. If He has allowed you to dream it, know that He has the power to grant it, or something even more beautiful. Thank you for watching. If you found peace and value in today's message, please give this video a big thumbs up, share it with someone who might be going through a difficult time right now. And let us know in the comments how you plan to trust the process. Like, share, and subscribe to our Global Mystery Nexus channel for more informative videos that expand your mind and soothe your soul. Until next time, keep the faith, and remember that you are exactly where you are meant to be.